Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Harry McCulla. This is Going Public, and this week we'll be talking to David Rome. He's the Terrebonne Public Works Director, Terrebonne Parish Public Works Director. Thanks for being with us. David, always busy, always got stuff going on. One of the times this year, though, is money. A lot of times we're always going, oh, if we can get the money, we can do projects. One of the benefits from COVID, a crazy year that we have, is that there is a lot of money available from a lot of different sources. One of them be the feds or the state or whatever. As they shut down the economy, they're trying to keep things going for guys like you. Hey, so we're going to talk a little bit today about where some of that money may be going, roads, bridges, those kind of things.
That's correct, Harry. We are living in some strange times. The American Rescue Plan, we just got the first round of that money in, and they're very specific of what it can and cannot be used for, but President Dove and our CFO, Candace Malden, have done an outstanding job on making sure that we can fund a lot of projects that aren't necessarily in tune with what the plan is, and that's by restructuring some of the lost revenues within inside of the government and redirecting into some of our needs. I had made a statement at one of the council meetings about 2 weeks ago, and it would take about $40 million to repair all the road problems that we have in Terrebonne Parish. But that's just the surface of the roads. That's not talking about what's causing it underneath it. So we don't have $40 million, but we do have some money that's rolling in, and Mr. Dove has some big plans on fixing the roads in Terrebonne Parish.
And this is not the infrastructure plan that they've talked about, right? This may be a different, maybe you can help you out a little more on that.
You are correct. So there's been talk that the federal government is looking at a $1.3 trillion, that's with a T, trillion dollar infrastructure spending bill specifically for roads and bridges. How that money is going to get to us local agencies is still really up in the air, and there are some programs that are out there that are federally funded that we get the money directly. We're hoping that that's the case, not going through the state, but that we'll see when that comes around.
Right. So you got looking at the Terrebonne Parish roads, and one of the benefits of COVID, we're learning new math. Now we're in the trillions. So
that's right. We're talking about big things, and Terrebonne Parish is a big parish. We have 334 miles of concrete roads. We have 188 miles of asphalt roads, 23 miles of limestone roads. That's what we call shell roads around here.
Right.
And then we have 181 miles of road striping. That's pretty sizable when you look at how much it costs for a 1 mile of road is about $1.2 million per mile. So you can do the math. We're looking at $500 million worth of roads, just concrete roads here in Terrebonne Parish. And we as an agency have done a better job than most agencies with the revenue that we direct towards our roads. But of course, there's always room for improvement, and we have a really good plan to start solving some of these issues. So if we could take a look at the slide that we have, this is what we've done so far this year in 2021. And what we expect to spend. So we're looking at about $3.6 million worth of road repairs that have either been done, have been bidded out, and are going to start, but will be completed by the end of 2021 this year. That's both concrete and asphalt. That does not include the much talked about $1.5 million asphalt project. That's actually, we're still having that in design. And that should be going to bid shortly, but it will be completed by the end of this year. And then we have $340,000 worth of pavement markings. One thing a lot of people don't realize is those little plastic reflectors on the roadway. Those cost about $15 a piece installed. And so next time you drive down a roadway, count how many $15 bills you see laying down in the middle of the roadway.
Those are so important, though. And I don't mean to say it, but around here, when it's dark or foggy or smoggy or whatever they do in Kane, that's so important.
That's right. Probably about 12 months of the year, we have some type of either rain, hurricane, or fog that has that. We also have we've done $106,000 worth of curb and sidewalk repairs. I pulled that number outside of the road repairs. That way, your viewers can see that we are spending a significant amount of money trying to repair those curbs. I know have a very long curb list. And we have 4 concrete crews that are working around the clock now. They actually work 6 days a week on Saturdays as well, replacing concrete throughout the parish. And we're hoping that we can get caught up, especially with this money trickling down to us.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you maybe a silly question. How do you decide whether you do a concrete or an asphalt road, and what's the difference of maybe what's going to go over those roads?
Yeah, generally, yes. High traffic roads, there's different emulsions that are used with asphalt. So you can put a low density asphalt down in a subdivision where you know you won't have 18-wheelers and all. You can get a more expensive asphalt emulsion that can hold up to what a concrete road can. Asphalt is generally cheaper, but doesn't last quite as long as the concrete does.
Right. So like if in an interstate, that would be that high density concrete, but then if 311 might be more asphalt, or maybe I'm not right.
Nope, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. You add a couple more of these, you'll be a road expert too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because we have a lot of common road failure causes.
Right.
And the number one is, without a doubt, overweight vehicles. That is unpermanent loads being tracked across parish roads, and that will destroy an asphalt road just as quick as it'll destroy a concrete road. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is the heat expansion, which is we also call heat buckles. During summertime, we see probably about 30 or 40 instances where the road actually starts to expand, because just like with air gets hot, it expands, right. It cools down, it shrinks. Concrete does the same thing over about half the life expectancy. For first 15 years of a concrete panel's life, it's going to continue to flex, which is why they have those expansion joints in there.
Right. It's not living and breathing, but it moves. And I know when I did my house, they're saying concrete.
Yep.
It's like a real thing, and obviously those expansion joints are the tar that they put in the middle.
That is correct.
And that allows it to expand and contract.
That is correct. And just like asphalt, concrete has different mixtures and has different tendencies, but it is a very dynamic material. A lot of people think it's there, it's done. No, it's growing, it's shrinking, it's doing a lot of things, moving with the base material.
Right.
And so the last, and probably for Terrebonne Parish, the most common that we have is the failure of subsurface utilities. And I bring this up because a lot of people ask me, well, David, I've been calling you about this crack in this roadway here for 2 months now. Why ain't it been fixed? And it's because we need to find out what caused that crack, what caused that failure. Right. Because I could go out and spend the $3,500, which is about the average price right now, for a 10 by 20 piece of concrete. That $3,500 may only last you a year if you have a broken sewer line.
Same thing.
And so I brought some pictures to kind of show, that way your viewers have an idea when they're driving around the road and they see a failure, they'll know what kind of caused it. What we see here is an asphalt road that a overweight vehicle not only drove over it, he stopped for an extended period of time and essentially just smashed the entire thing to bits. This is a fairly recent thing, and we're working on getting that repaired as soon as possible.
What would be like an example, like a concrete truck or pipes, or carrying something like that?
Think bigger. So we're the standard roadway usually can handle about 45,000 pounds. New DOTD specs puts it up to 80,000. We have a lot of industrial steel, things like that nature, generators. We've seen some huge loads of offshore materials getting trucked in, and that's usually what I call it.
And I imagine when it's hot like this, the asphalt's probably softer too.
It is. It's a lot more susceptible to overweight vehicles, and unfortunately, the Louisiana State Police do a really good job on enforcing it. But just like anywhere else in law enforcement, they're understaffed when it comes to weights and standards. Right. The next picture we have here, this is actually Bayou Gardens, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this over the last few months. That is a perfect example of a heat buckle. What happened was the old concrete, which Bayou Gardens was poured many years ago, has continuously contracted and expanded into it buckled right there. And that's going to be being repaired very shortly. I believe a press release should be released about the closure of that lane coming up. And then the last picture I have that causes, actually I think I have two more, but they're both sewer. What you see there is a vitrified clay pipe that was laid in about 1910, 1920 in downtown Houma, and it has broken. When it breaks, that mud that you see at the top of the arch starts migrating in there. That creates a void. A school bus, anything rolls over that concrete, it snaps, and over time, it fails. And the very next picture is another very common thing that happens to our sewer pipes is utilities get bored through them, and they don't always get caught right away by the contractor that's doing the boring, and that's a gas line that's ran through that pipe. Fortunately, we had gotten that fixed, and no roads or anything like that.
Very, very interesting, and I guess that would lead to, we got about 30 seconds left for this break. Those sometimes you see in New Orleans, they've had a big issue with this, right? Over time, sinkholes sometimes, that kind of stuff. We really hadn't had that much of an issue down here, but we also have, in Terrebonne Parish, have 100, 120-year-old pipes and those kind of things.
That's the truth. And what I always tell people is throughout the years we've always kind of kicked the can down the road. We've gotten to the point to where there is no more road to kick it down.
Right.
We have to fix these problems now, and that's what this money is going to be used for.
Right. We're not 300 years old, but we are 100 years old with some of that stuff. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back more with David Rome right after this on Going Public.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Pelican Waste and Debris is your local company. We don't just work here, we live here and understand the unique challenges that face our region. Our commitment to our community and customers and love for Louisiana keeps us motivated. Pelican meets every residential and commercial service need, offering roll-off, front-load, and compactor services, ideal for hotels, restaurants, apartments, construction or industrial sites, and much more. We also make recycling simple and cost-efficient, offering single-stream recycling program options. We have set the highest standards for environmental protection, community engagement, and guaranteed client satisfaction. Visit pelicanwaste.net or call us at 985-873-9553 to save money with hassle-free service. Our team has over 100 years of experience, so we know how to make you happy. The sky is the limit, so fly with the Pelican.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time. I'm Harry McCulla. This is Going Public. This week we talk with David Rome, the Public Works Director for Terrebonne Parish. David, we talked about infrastructure, some of the possible new things you're doing up and around, fixing stuff, roads and all. But there's still a lot of roads and bridge projects that are still on the way and coming, right?
That's correct, Harry. Mr. Dove had the foresight last budget season to shave off some of the general fund monies and direct it towards, for instance, the asphalt repair project. That's $1.5 million. That's about 3 times the amount of money we have ever gotten for a single asphalt project. In my recollection, it's been 9 years now doing this with the parish. The Asphalt Project, this is not just one project, it's actually probably about 30 small projects throughout the Terrebonne Parish. It encompasses every district except for Councilwoman Doming's district. She has no asphalt roads whatsoever in her district other than one small one that we can do in-house. We also, we've talked before about the South Hollywood Road Bridge at Southdown Mandalay.
Yeah.
This is coming along. The total project is $1.9 million. Mr. Dove saw the need of having a bridge there because the Mandalay Bridge that's just north of that is failing, and the state actually has closed it twice on us already. We've been able to do some repairs to it to kind of get it back up. That way the people who live on the 182 side can get across. But it's really a bridge that is old, it's aging, and has had its share of overweight vehicles on it. And so the South Hollywood Road Bridge is going to be a 3-lane bridge. We're still working with the state as to how the configuration of the traffic light's going to be on 182, whether there will or will not be a turning lane is yet to be seen, but it's still moving forward, and we really do expect to have this out for bid before the end of this year. Because it's very, very much so needed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of traffic is now starting to use that Hollywood extension there, and to come straight into a dead end right there. It'd be nice to just go over for a lot of those folks in Mulberry and Bayou Cane and all those areas. Yeah, so you got asphalt projects, and then you got $1.1 million for the Country Estates Bridge.
We do. So this has kind of been low on everyone's radar, but we're going to start talking about it because I actually had a meeting this week with DOTD. This is $1.1 million to replace the Country Estates Bridge. The Country Estates runs between Coteau and Bayou Blue, and before the Bayou Gardens extension, it really was the only traversal roadway between those two highways, except for jumping on one of the other major arteries. Country Estates has a lot of residential areas there, and that bridge is reached the end of its lifespan. And the beauty of it, we were talking about state programs and stuff. This entire bridge is going to be replaced with federal funding that's funneled through the state with the off-system bridge program. Not listed up there, but also worth a mention is we've started working on programming the Savannah Road Bridge over Hanson Canal. So you know where the Sheriff's Office rifle range is. Right. They got that really small bridge that used to be really low to the water, but now that we've lowered the water level, it looks like a real bridge now.
Got a pump now,
right? That's going to be replaced probably in the next 3 years or so. That's been successfully accepted by the state as part of that off-system program. The only thing we have to pay for is any right-of-way acquisitions and things of that nature.
What's a lifespan for a bridge?
So most of the bridges, when I took over over our bridges in 2012, and it's been a long time. In 2012, we had 81 bridges. Most of them were built in the 60s, and the average lifespan is about 50 years. So we're pretty much past the golden years of most of our bridges in our parish, which is why we've been replacing them. Polk Street, Hanson Canal, some of them along Bayou Terrebonne, some on the north end of the parish, some in the south end of the parish. We've been very diverse as where these bridges are being selected and replaced.
And not all bridges are built the same, and obviously some of them are a little different. Whenever you see like a major news story, they always talk about the infrastructure of America and how grades and all like. How's the grades of our bridges in Terrebonne Parish? And I guess some of them are your responsibility, some of them maybe the state's, I guess the bigger ones?
That's right. Any bridge that is on a highway is a state bridge. But right now we have 84 bridges in Terrebonne Parish, and believe it or not, we are in the top tier. So we don't get a fortune of a B, C, but there's different tiers, and we are a tier 1 program. And believe it or not, our bridge program is the model for the rest of the state. Many of the other agencies look to us as to what we implemented back in 2014 to start replacing these bridges, having a bridge inspection program. We have a specialized division within Roads and Bridges that does nothing but inspect bridges and bring those reports to us so we can bring them and start making informed decisions as to what bridges need to be replaced now, which ones can be done in 5 years, and which ones can last a little bit longer.
84 bridges. That's a lot of bridges in a relatively small area, but I mean, we got a lot of water. I imagine, though, we're so close to the Gulf, the salt water, that probably all comes into play as far as maintenance and deterioration and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that anybody that's lived here for any amount of time knows that the Gulf of Mexico is a whole lot closer than it was a few years ago. And what that does is that creates a tidal boundary. It moves that tidal boundary further north. And what creates rot is water and air. And so that's essentially what a tide is, right? The water goes up on high tide, then comes back down low tide, and that creates a section on those wooden piles that create rot. Another thing to Mr. Dove's credit I have to give is that he standardized that all bridges in Terrebonne Parish will have concrete piles. And that you would think it's a no-brainer, but that has never been standardized for our parish.
Right. Right, we were talking about going back 100 years. Obviously, that wasn't an option back there. So no, that's really that's great thinking and forward thinking. And I know they're saying a lot of those bridges, like the one that's going to end up on Hollywood, is going to look like the one on Polk Street, right? Yeah. So
that's correct. And another thing that Mr. Dove did with our bridges was he standardized not only, you know, that it has to have concrete. It only makes sense to have concrete piles, but it needs to be a fully functional bridge. We need to be able to allow pedestrians onto the bridges because foot traffic is a very popular thing. And so all of these bridges from now on, if they can have a pedestrian walkway, they will have a pedestrian walkway.
No, that's awesome. I mean, we've all been across one lane bridges, right? You got to go take trains.
We're going to get rid of those.
Going across. All right, Dave Rome, of the Terrebonne Parish Public Works Director. Update. Give us an update on the COVID update with Public Works. That's been an issue for you guys, right, with staffing?
It had been. The last time I was on going public with you, Harry, we had a couple of individuals that were out. We have ramped up our precautions and our standards to match this new wave that's coming through. And my people are staying healthy. Those who are sick are doing the right thing. They're staying at home, protecting themselves, their coworkers, their families. But we still have a shortage because a lot of people don't want work. And right now in Terrebonne Parish, we have several vacancies that are available. And you can go to www.tpcg.org. That's www.tpcg.org. And you can see all of our job opportunities that are available on the board. I could tell you in
give us an example of some of those jobs.
Yeah, so to give you an example, we have grade all operators. We have anyone that has a CDL, we want you. And we can put you on a transit bus. We can put you in a piece of equipment. We do have a very good pay scale, but we have excellent benefits at the parish. And the one thing that I tell anybody that comes and sits down and asks for a job from me is, what's the best part about working for the parish is it's the job security. You don't have the ebb and flow like the oil field in the private sector. There will always be a need for government. They'll always have ditches that need to be dug, and we need people to help us, get that done.
Yeah, no, it's real important, and right, the benefits are great with a government job like that, and for some folks that maybe have had transient careers over the years, this is a good time to get there and then get the benefits, retirement plans, and all that kind of stuff.
I agree. About 80% I've been in government my entire adult life. I walked out of high school right into government, but I have probably about 80% of my employees were trained in the oil field and made very good money. I mean, 6 figures in the oil field, but they come to me and they tell me, David, it feels great every morning to wake up and know I have a job to go to.
Right.
And that's a big piece of mind.
And also have a retirement plan and those kind of things. You said since high school, so you're about done here.
No, I wish. I still got about 20 more years, so we got a couple more going publics to do.
Exactly. I'm just teasing. We got about a minute to go here. And so what's next? And I guess you prioritize things. You got a lot of stuff going on, but what's next and what's the next big thing you're looking for?
Well, we're looking forward to getting a lot of this infrastructure projects going. We're finally getting caught up on the grass cutting throughout the parish. That has been a huge hot topic, and I really do feel the citizens' frustration with that. And it's not due to a lack of trying. It's just if it would stop raining for just 5 minutes, we might be able to cut a couple of ditches. The big things is catching up. The last year really hit us hard from the COVID perspective because we didn't have all hands on deck like we normally do,
Right.
and so we're kind of out of rhythm, but we're getting back there.
Oh yeah, well at least we hadn't been in 7 cones like we were in last year. But you're right. I think that's a common theme we're seeing now. The hospitals can't find nurses. They have beds, they don't have nurses. The teachers, if they get a whole bunch of teachers sick, they don't have enough replacements for it. So it's a common theme with all employment right now. Is there's not enough employees to go around. A lot of work.
We'll get through it though.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Dave Rome, Terrebonne Parish Public Works Director, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Harry.
All right, that's Going Public for this week. We'll be right back with more Bite Time.